And welcome back to part 23 of Neptunia Reverse, where today, continuing on from last time, we've got a new episode per se for chapter 7, where this time we're going to visit a different goddess and help them out. This time it's going to Lowee to help out Blanc from her fake. If you remember from before, I said the easiest way to point out the real Blanc from the fake is that the real Blanc is paler. And in this instance, the one on the left, when it goes back to them, is paler than the one on the right, so you know which one's real. The real Lady Blanc is to the left, I think. Yes, you are right, Financier. That last pack was super silent. I did know who was real at first, but they kept shuffling around. So you lost track of the real one? Embarrassing to say, yes. It is a predicament. We can't do anything without knowing who's real. Tap, 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 tap. There's a lot of people around, New. What are they doing, New? How are we supposed to tell who's the real Blanc? Nep detected, New. Hey, that voice, it's Pachico. It's been a while, New. Yeah, long time no see. How's it been? Not bad, New. What is Nep doing here, New? Well, blah 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 blah. Oh, so blah 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 blah. New. I see, New. Really? You understood that? You need to see with the eyes of your heart, Neptune, New. Eyes of my heart? No good. I can't tell at all. That was terrible, New. I suppose I'll have to use my secret ace, New. Secret ace? This is the real deal. Lowee CPU Q&A quiz, New. A quiz? Yes, New. Just ask questions only the real one would know, New. Cool, nice plan, Pachico. Let me start. What is Blanc's measurements? What? I can't answer that in front of everyone. That's easy. From the top there. Sorry, folks. We'll have to censor those figures. Maybe next series. Those are my accurate measurements. Blanc on the right got it correct. She's got the... How would you know that, Neptune? What? Next, what is the title of the fanfic Lady Blanc wrote 2 years ago? Why do you know that? I know all about Lady Blanc, after all. I am her lady's chamberlain. That's easy. The records of Terega, the meeting of the Overlord and Hero. Correct. That's such a painful title, New. The Blanc on the right is widening her lead. Next, Lady Blanc sent her novel to a contest a year ago. What was it about? This is easy too. Please, not that. The love story of a prince born as a human, but with the powers of a demon. And the female resistance leader who was his long-lost lover. Correct. Ouch. Well, there are people who do write these novels. I don't mind the setting, but it feels like a smorgasbord of cliches. I would add a battlefield to it, like good versus evil. How's that sound? Iffy? You're the same league as Blanc. Another question by yours truly, Financier. Ah! Quit the crap already! Yikes! The hell are you thinking, spilling all my secrets? I'm gonna kill you all! Finally shown your true fake self, didn't you? The hell are you saying, bitch? A real CPU would never utter such vulgarity. You're the fake. What? No, the real Lady Blanc is the one on the left. I knew something was missing. The vulgarity is Lady Blanc's signature. Huh? Well, what? I can curse too. Fudge. Stop being so quick to decide, you silly meanie. It feels similar, but something's just not right. It lacks edge, New. You're the fake, New. It seems like you couldn't copy the edginess of Blanc's bad mouth. Isn't this joyous, Lady Blanc? We know who is real. Shut it! Ah, the hell is this? Why do I have to be this deciding proof? It's just being crowned and stabbed at once. Lady Blanc can't be happy. I'm totally pissed. Well, my secrets were opened because of you. It's all your damn fault. You leave me no choice. I'll sacrifice myself to destroy the weapon. Wait up, you freaking fake! We should chase her too, New. Blood has been added and broccoli has been added to the party. Which, you know what that means? It means my party's going to get a slight rearrangement to correct that. You're also going to see a slight cut. I entered the new dungeon and then remember, oh yeah, right, there's new side quests. Because it's a new dungeon opened up. So then I cut to me leaving, getting it and coming back. Which is all the standard stuff, like kill the optional boss, get so much of an item. And I kept broccoli in on this fight as well. Just so I can showcase her a little bit. So, why are we underneath the basilicom? That is because the weapon is enshrined in the underground cave. Is that true? Wait, Blanc, don't tell me you didn't know. Shut up. I don't want to be judged by an amnesiac like you. But she looks just gonna cry. Get a secret from Lady Blanc. That is why the lady did not know this. Why did you do that? I was told that it was to be insurance in case Lady Blanc loses control. But Lady Blanc would never do that, so I kept it away. Financier. That's still very dangerous then. There's the cut. You might have noticed it, you might not have, but that was me leaving, picking up the side quest and then coming back in. And so this is Broccoli. She's the tiniest character in the game by a stretch. Even if you get Peachy out, Peachy is not as small as Broccoli is. Broccoli is tiny. She's like 2 foot. But she's a great member in her own right of what she can do. Even if, like, compared to the last, like, one-off character we got, Tekken, I don't think she's as impressive. Because Tekken can put elemental skills on her physical attacks. That's not really how Broccoli works. Broccoli is a lot more of a universal. She has a super that can hurt. She has an amazing healing skill that always heals 80% of health. It costs quite a hefty amount of SP, but it's still, that's an amazing healing skill. But I wouldn't say she's a healer. It's just that she's got a really good healing skill on her.
Now's my chance.
And she's got one of the best support buffs. I'll say that's probably the best way to put it. She's probably a really good support unit. It's probably the best way to describe her. Because her 2 supporting buffs that she starts with, they have an extremely wide range. So you can get almost your entire team in them sometimes, and then boost everyone's strength, or everyone's tech, or everyone's skills, etc, etc. Like, you can boost stats and get it a group wide. The only thing you have to be wary of, and it's, I guess, kind of expected when you consider that she's such a little bean of a character, she's very frail. And that's as a human character, is even more apparent. She is extremely frail. So just make sure to look after her, because she will die easily.
Here you go.
Thankfully, she doesn't die too often in my playtime with her. In fact, in this dungeon, I think Iffy dies more often. But that's just because Iffy's Iffy. Like I said, Comper and Iffy, just neither of them are long-lasting. Unfortunately, in every game they're in, they're great for early game, but they're only great for early game. But this is what I mean. Look at the range of that buff, so everyone gets to have that.
I'll show you the true power.
But because an enemy went viral, I decided to have Blanc transform. Because the other thing of interest is Broccoli's starting level was 55, which is, like I say, isn't the same as what we got with Tekken. Tekken started at 60, and so Tekken could kind of carry a little bit in that last area. Broccoli can't. Broccoli, like I said, she's a support unit, so using her for this dungeon will help, but it won't solve all your problems. And that is especially apparent with the end boss of this dungeon, because we are going to fight the fake Blanc, the fake Whiteheart at the end of this. The fake Blanc has very good defense, you know, to match the real Blanc, and heals a lot of health. You know those optional boss fights we've done every now and then, where they like regenerate a lot of health every time it's their turn? Well, now it's a mandatory boss that's got this problem. And it turns into a bit of a lengthy fight. It's why this video is like half an hour, even though I'm going to start cutting fights again in this video. Because I didn't really in the Tekken one, because I felt like it was the only chance I was going to get to show off Tekken, and I hadn't been showing off too many fights full stop. But a lot of these fights get really monotonous in this place. Everything in this dungeon is preparing you for the fake Blanc boss fight, because everything here is kind of tanky. Because fake Blanc is tanky. What's also even better with Broccoli's ridiculously ranged buffs is that you can set their starting point on the character. So if you want it to start on Nep, for instance, because Nep's in a better position for it than someone else, you can. Making it, like I said, even more ridiculous of a support. Her voice does get a tad annoying though, and it's just how the presentation of it, and how few battle lines they record for the characters. Broccoli's voice lines do start to grain a little bit, and that's not just the English, that's the Japanese as well. It's very high pitched and squeaky regardless. And it might be a voice that you recognize. I'd be curious to see if any of you listening to this recognize that voice. Because it's not been in a game I've played on this channel before, but it is in a lot. It is an actress that you will recognize from a lot of stuff. Like, the biggest one for me that I noticed immediately because of the way too many goddamn hours I put into it, it's Nanako from Persona 4. Just squeakier.
I'm gonna get strong.
Like,
Level up.
that was the thing that I noticed immediately. And that's something that I like about the entire English cast across the Neptunia series. The amount of actresses, and occasionally actor, the odd male voice we get, like Umio in the 4th game. And then you hear, Cardinal Seirud and Dragonstar, and it's the same voice. The amount of actresses that I recognize them from other stuff, they got a proper collection of different actors and actresses in the Neptunia series. I just think they're very light-hearted, but knowing when to be serious. Well, more so in the later games, knowing how to be serious, because the first game really fucking isn't, as you've probably noticed at this point. But the light-hearted, goofy, filled to the absolute brim with video game references series that is Neptunia, I think just attracts a lot of varied talents. And so there's a lot of actors and actresses that end up popping up in the Neptunia series as we go through it. Like, the other one was one of the villains of the second game. I think it's CFW Brave. As soon as he started talking, I was like, that's Jin. That's Jin and Hakuman from BlazBlue. As soon as he started talking, I was just like, huh. Like, you get them pop up every now and then. Like, it's very much the anime side of things that a lot of them pop up. But they're all really good actors and actresses, and they just managed to get a hold of them all. Get a hold of a lot of them for this. And I hope if there ever is a 5th game that continues. Good luck to continue my conversation from the other day, where I felt like I was worried that they were slowly but surely leaning away from doing English dubs, despite the fact I love the English dubs. Also, here's her normal EXE, so you can see what it's like outside of a boss fight, and then later on I'll show what it's like in a boss fight. Yep, it's just a giant laser.
I feel powerful.
But it's like, if they do continue it on, and, you know, assuming they do make a proper English dub for it, yada yada, I'm always just kind of curious to see who gets added next. Like, what kind of characters they add. Like, I think with the 5th game, I mentioned it before, I don't want them to add a new goddess, or like new real. So they can add a new dimension, but don't add like a new goddess to it. So I think there's already too many characters in the Neptunia series, and I think just adding to it even more wouldn't be their wisest choice at this point. I'd rather them expand on the characters they have, because that was the biggest thing that I was kind of bitter about moving from the 3rd game to the 4th game, is that Plutia and Pishi, after the 3rd game, don't show up again. Because in the 4th game it's more about Uzume. And I don't want it to be the 5th game is another new dimension with another new goddess, and Uzume is benched just as hard as Pluto and Pishi were. I'd rather them spend some time in Ultra Dimension to catch up with those two. I'd rather them spend some time in Heart Dimension. Well, actually, it wouldn't be Heart Dimension, I don't think, because Uzume went dimension hopping with AdultNet. So I'd love to see whatever dimension they end up in, but see more of them. So maybe add a new dimension to keep it fresh, but don't add new goddesses. Or if you are going to add a new goddess, make them a villain or something. Make them a unique main villain. Because I find it wild that across the whole series, we've never seen the main 4 goddesses' mother, or like sort of thing. Because there is in the main universe, in Hyperdimension, mothers, the 4 goddesses aren't sisters per se, but they do come from the same original goddess, if that makes sense. Like, it's a bit more complicated, but they all essentially come from a goddess called Uranus. And it's like, we learn about Uranus, they sometimes talk about Uranus, like, especially in like some of the side material, but we've never really dived into who that person is or was, if they're even still alive. Nor have we ever seen what they look like. And I would love for a 5th game to maybe establish that and show what Uranus maybe looked like, maybe explain what happened to her. Because in the 3rd game we learn of Ultra Dimension's origin through the Atari. They have Ray Wrights represent the Atari and be like the origin goddess. And that was an interesting dynamic that you sort of got to learn more of, like the lore of Ultra Dimension, but that's different from Hyperdimension. And then in the 4th game, we learned that Uzume was the original goddess of Hyperdimension, but left because she was ousted. Because things went wrong and the people started to hate her, so she was ousted. and then that's when Nep, Noir, Blanc, and Vert started to come in and be who they are in Hyperdimension anyway, when they rose to power, so to speak. Well, I say rose to power, that's not accurate. It's more accurate to say were born into those positions. Because they've always kind of been the way they are. Like, that's something that the third game goes out of its way to establish quite gravely, that the goddesses do not age. Their age is exactly the way it's been always. Which is why in the fourth game, when we meet an alternate dimension of Nep that never became a goddess, she's an adult, because she has aged. Whilst Neptune, Noir, Blanc, Vert, Netgear, Uni, Rom and Ram, they're always going to be the same age they are. Which is unfortunate for Rom and Ram because they're like 9-year-olds and they're forever going to be 9-year-olds. That they're never going to grow up to like their big sis as much as they want to be. But like that, you get what I mean. That's what they are always like that. Whilst the third game established that no, if they're not goddess, it's only because they're goddesses that they don't age. So sorry, I know I'm staggering on my point, but there's a lot I want to say on it, and I'm never really sure how to say it. I just want them to explore more history in a fifth game if we ever get one. Which is starting to feel just that little bit less likely as time goes on. But then speaking of Neptunia, we finally got a Western release date for both the US and Europe release. Also, I love this fucking fight finale on the EXE if you do it against a boss. I genuinely adore this animation. Where like Broccoli goes, I'm gonna kill you kind of thing. And then she tries to make her look all cute at the end anyway. Like, no, I didn't just nuke. I didn't just drop a meteorite on the enemy. What are you on about? Ah. But yeah, speaking of that, they announced that it's going to be like second week of October, which is devastating for someone who's also getting Mary Skelter Final. It reminds me of, I think it was when Dragonstar dropped and then Super Nep RPG dropped like 2 weeks later. Well, we got a cutscene, so I'll have to get back to that in a second. Gonna make you pay for all that crap back there. Your ass is grass. Go and punish the imposter for exposing the secrets of our fair lady. Yeah, go for it. I feel like Nep and Miss Financier are partly to blame here. These guys don't learn, do they, New? But this is the main boss, and it's the first boss in quite a while that might give you some trouble. But not in the way of that the boss will kick your ass and wipe the floor with you, like the Chapter 2 boss fight against Noir can, or the Chapter 5 boss fight where they restrict your abilities to use items and skills. No, it's more that there's a chance that you will stalemate in this fight if you are not strong enough or haven't got a good enough strategy. And if you do, and it's clear that no matter what you're doing, nothing's changing, you've just got to accept that and go and grind or get better materials, weapons, etc, etc. Because the fake Blanc is going to heal a lot of health every time it's her turn, and so you need to be able to go plus every turn on the damage you're doing versus how much she's healing. But because of pacing and the way that turn structure works, there's a good chance that you won't always get all 4 of your members to attack before it's fake Blanc's next turn, so sometimes you'll end up going under more often than you go over. What I'd suggest doing, because this is 15,500 health every turn, instead of prioritizing trying to keep on top of that every single little turn, just prioritize breaking the guard. Once the guard is broken, if you've got super EXEs, even if you start with this fight with 0 EXE, you will have max EXE. If you don't have super EXE, go fight some encounters normally around the place until you do. And then, once you break the guard, unleash all your EXEs. It won't be enough to kill, I guarantee you that now. Because, listen, she's extremely bulky and has a lot of health to back that up. But it will be a good enough head start, and then it will just be a matter of keeping up a pattern beyond that, of making sure the guard breaks again as soon as possible, and then making the most of that damage every time it comes around. Whether it be through EXEs or just SP skills. So right now, it's just focusing on the guard points. But yeah, to get back to what I was talking about, the Neptunia Senran Kagura ninja themed spin-off, I think it's like October the 9th in the UK it comes out, I think. Mary Skelter Final was like October the 1st in the UK, so that's exceptionally close. I was like, I want to get both of them. Because I've never really, I mentioned it before, I enjoyed Mary Skelter Nightmares enough to enjoy it in almost like a passive sense. But I wouldn't say I loved it, it was my favourite Neptunia game. I just enjoyed it enough that I would have picked up the sequel if it wasn't a Switch exclusive in the West. So I thought, and especially because it's called Mary Skelter Final, I really want to pick it up. Also, I hate the animation from the Kara Beam. I genuinely don't like this. Like, I don't, like, it's a great healing skill, but I hate the animation for it. Like, what the hell was that? Firstly, you get a really, like, bad, like, a really questionable panty shot, which for, like, a 2 foot tall, very, very lollified character, I'm just, yeah, no, it's not my thing. I know some people have their preferences. If it's legal, it doesn't bother me, per se. It's just not my thing. And then it's the whole, like, she cries, like sludge tears, and it turns into, her, like, pet thing that she carries around, her ball pet thing that she sometimes sleeps on and whatnot. And then it heals you, and you're like, what? Like, it just confuses me more than anything. But Ninja Nep I'm super looking forward to. And if you've been with my channel for a while, if I can help it, I get collector's editions of Idea Factory titles that I'm interested in. Because I've been a member on their storefront for long enough to usually get pretty decent discounts on it, so I can get them for reasonable prices. Yeah, those prices as a whole still keep on creeping up. It's just the nature of how things are. Like, COVID transportation jacked up the delivery fees for a lot of stuff, and so there's some things where it's like it was 70 quid and now I'm paying 85, and I'm just like, oh, like that's not always the easiest pill to swallow for them. So I think Mary Skelter Final, I've got the collector's edition of that coming up, and that's like 83 or 84 pounds I'm spending. I don't know what that is in US dollars. You can work it out yourself, but it's pricey. And I haven't even looked, 'cause I don't think pre-orders are available on the UK or the European storefront, I should specify, yet. But I'll have to keep an eye on it, because I'll get that collector's edition as well, because they've shown off what's in it. It's just whether it's pre-orderable yet. But that's a debatable. Like, I might, just because of how close they are, that's a lot of money to spend. I might just get like the day one edition or something instead for that, but I'm undecided. If the collector's cards come with the day one edition, I'll probably get the day one edition. If they're only in the collectors, then I'll probably be convinced. Because I've been doing alright. I've got most of the cards now. The only one I'm missing is like the I think it's the first Christmas collector's card or something like that I'm missing. Or like a game-specific card, maybe. I think it's like 3 or 4 is the one I'm missing. And at some point I need to get one of those like booklet things and put all the cards in that so I can store them as we go. Like because Idea Factory, if you order from their store, they have monthly cards, and if there's a new game release from them, they will have a double up on that month of like something from that game. So Mary Skelter Final, because it releases in America in September, at the very tail end of September, it's counted as a September bonus, whilst Ninja Nep is the October bonus. It's not every month, it's just how it is. It's another reason why I want Data Live Ren Dystopia to come out, because I want a Data Live card. You know, it'd probably be of Ren and Toka and not, you know, Kurumi, my girl, but it would probably be like that.
I'm gonna win.
As I get 32-bit Mega Blade, which I don't even think is the best skill Nep can learn. I think there's another one beyond this in the first game. I don't know if it's, I might be talking about my backside though. It might be something that's introduced in later games that I'm thinking of, but there is more skills to come. Because I know there's like Victory Slash to come yet, and so I don't know if that's in this game or if that was later. Because obviously it was in Victory, but I don't know if it originated from Victory or if Victory Slash is in previous ones. But it's literally that she cuts a giant V in the enemy. And of course, it's nowhere near as many skills as there are in the fourth game. It's kind of wild when I look on, like every time I fire up V2R, and you can literally, at the moment you start the game, immediately click on your character and bring up every single skill they're ever going to get, because you get to pick and choose what skills to unlock as you go through it. Every character has so many skills in the fourth game. And also, I really hope that carries over into the fifth game, regardless of how they handle the style of the fifth game's gameplay. Just really inflate the skill list. Make it so every character has a shit ton of options, because it just makes them more interesting later on. And the way they try and make up for it in the earlier games is having so many different characters. But too many characters either blend into one another or just don't feel that worth it as a whole.
Leave it to me.
And I've done a lot of it, like with Broccoli, for instance. She's good, but being able to apply stat buffs to other characters can do that. Yeah, she can do it better, but you know what other characters have to make up for it? Decent defense and decent health. Blanc can buff everyone as well. Yeah, not in the same group level that Broccoli can, but she'll actually survive most things that are thrown at her, whilst Broccoli really won't. And I get kind of lucky here that throughout the whole fight, the fake doesn't really bother with Broccoli. Like, it hits her like a couple times, but it really doesn't seem that fussed. It takes an interest in Iffy near the end and starts like, really decking her. To the point where I even have Iffy start defending every turn, and she still nearly dies at the end of each turn. It does more than half, so it would have killed if she weren't defending. Or like that, where she gets a random crit and does nearly 5,000 damage. That's not always appreciated. Yeah, so there goes Iffy, 8,400 damage. And then later on, when I revive Iffy, I start just having Iffy guard, because she's not doing much to the fight anyway. So I know she's going to die here because she's less than 2,000, so next hit that comes her way is going to put her in trouble. And I accept that in that sense. Also, you see here, I take Tangerine Trombo because although Zestoroon is a stronger skill, it only hits once, so with Tangerine Trombo, I can break 9,999 damage. It will do ever so slightly larger damage as a whole. If I had the Limit Breaker on Blanc, then I'd take the other skill, because Zestoroon would probably do a lot more damage. It would do like 15,000. Is me buffing everyone? I think... Do I... Oh no, I don't heal. I was gonna say, do I not heal Iffy to try and make it so she survives another turn? Okay, I do. And then she gets put down again like, in a couple turns. But you can see what I mean with this fight. This is a longer fight than some of the fights we've done, and it's entirely just because of the bulk and the fact that she can do this. So there's that stupid animation. I just skipped it. I was like, no, I'm not seeing that shit again. 10,000 damage. There goes Iffy again. But as of this recording, later today is the PlayStation Experience, and so if we get downtime in tomorrow's video, I'll probably be talking extensively about that, but only if it's good. And I must like stress that because I wanted to talk about Gamescom, I wanted to talk about E3 more, I wanted to talk about a lot more this year with like every time there was like a real like game showcase. And I'm not going to say that they were outright bad. I don't think that's fair for me to say because there were announcements and they were varied, and that's kind of the bare minimum. It's just none of them appealed to me, and so I didn't really feel like it'd be worth me talking about it if it's not for me anyway. Like I was like, what could I add to the conversation if it's not my kind of games for the most part? Like I said, my biggest things I'm looking forward to for the rest of this year are Tales of Arise, which actually I think comes out tomorrow as of this recording. It comes out, I think it does come out on September the 10th, at least in the UK, so that's something. It'll be interesting to see how I feel about that game when it comes out. I hope for the love of God they learned from Tales of Berseria and they don't block all recording of that game. Because that still to this day hurts that I can't record one of my all-time favourite games on this channel. Unless I get like my own recording equipment set up and learn how to edit on a computer and all stuff I don't have, essentially. So the reason why I always do it through PlayStation is because my computer is a very cheap second-hand laptop that is just the bare minimum to help out with like odd editing things when I can't do it on PlayStation. That's it. I don't use Steam. I don't use PC gaming. I will at some point probably, but not anytime soon. It'll probably be when I have like, you know, if my YouTube channel ever takes off and I start earning money off it, I will invest in getting a proper PC setup, probably. And like committing to learning and getting better at like editing and yada yada. But the whole time it's more of just a fun side thing, and I work in a supermarket. No, I gotta be careful with my money. I know that saying that I've just said I brought the collector's edition of Mario Kart Final and considering getting Ninja Nep as well. But they're one-offs because it's not every single week there's a new Idea Factory game, you know? Like the next collector's edition game I'll probably buy from Idea Factory will probably be either Death End 3, because let's be honest, that's probably happening, or Nep 5 if that does ever happen. Anything else beyond this point, I'll probably buy a Day 1 edition, but I doubt I will be too much interested, like have too much interest beyond that. I did eventually actually pick up Death End Request 1's collector's edition because they were doing a sale for it, and so I nabbed it. So now I have both Death End 1 and Death End 2. Because when I originally got Death End 1, I got it digital because it was on sale for like 10 quid. And I just went, stuff it, and I got it as a one-off, and I ended up loving it. And then I recorded it, and I ended up doing the recording for it. I say that, even though I loved it, I had a lot of problems with it. But I ended up loving it a heck of a lot more after my recorded playthrough, so I had a much better understanding of the plot. One day, a certain plumber with a mustache in Lowee crafted it into a hammer. I wanted to point out that little line. I mean, they didn't retain its form. No, see here, the shaft was retained, the blade was what was changed. They changed the most important portion, you? But hey, it's good that it's a hammer. You're used to using those, aren't you? I guess so. Well, we have the legendary weapon, so let's go. I'll follow after. I need to clear up after all the fake's done. That reminds me, are you still writing more pain-inducing novels? Seriously? You want to bring up that subject again? Oh, but I'm a bit interested too. I've already graduated from writing such middle schooler content. I'm now writing a battle harem, slice of life novel. It'll be epic. Oh, okay. I'm not sure what to say. I don't think she graduated at all, new. A battle harem slice of life. Yeah, good luck with that, Blanc. It can work. I mean, Data Life's technically that as it. If you wanna like pull at strings here, that's technically Data Life's that. Because that's a harem, but all the girls in the harem just kick ass. So healthy, even the elderly play video games. Isn't that wonderful? Sad thing, some try to scam our elders. Pathetic. To those scammers, consider this a message to you. I will hunt you down. Well, isn't it strange? But until next time. The CPU blogs is. I get what they were doing with it. So I appreciate that you get that little extra context. I just wish they did more. But I gotta wrap this up now. Next time on Neptunia Reverse, we're gonna go to Last Station to help out Noir before we even remotely consider, helping ourselves. But until then, take care, peace.